kickoff from the 35-yard line. This is high, not too deep. And this is Jeff Treflin. Treflin gets to the 30. Well, they'll spot it down about the 32 or 33. That was a good kick by Hank Alyssa because it was high, and it allowed the cover team to get down there.
And, of course, as all the fans in the CFL know this year, all kicks will come from the 35-yard line. So any time you stop the return team inside their own 35, you've done an excellent job.
Pat and Leaf, I just had a quick chat with Craig Ellis. He said the pattern he ran on the touchdown play was a new little wrinkle that the Argonauts put in, especially for the Alouettes after watching them play Ottawa last week.
Well, they may as well come back and use it again because it certainly was effective on that occasion. Joe Barnes fires, and it goes incomplete. He was looking for his new wide receiver, James Hood, number 80, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
Just, Dan, further to your comment, the Argonauts felt like they could go underneath the linebackers of the Montreal Alouettes because they dropped so deep. Although on the touchdown it was man-to-man coverage, but that certainly was uppermost in their game plan.
Joe Barnes. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, also, Craig appreciates the fact he got the score. Big smiles for Connie because he thought Condredge could have run the ball in himself.
It's 2nd and 10 as Barnes' pass is complete this time. And this is number 20 of the Montreal Alouettes, Terry Taylor. Taylor, of course, the former Toronto Argonaut, hoping to have a big game here against his former teammates.
Well, you heard him in our opening. No secret. He wants to get back and get some revenge. And he ran an excellent pattern against number 14, Dennis Clay. Had a good throw by Joe Barnes. And, boy, they've got to get something moving. They've had a pretty rough first quarter.
They have the ball right now at their own 49-yard line, trailing 7-0 with a minute and a half left to play in the opening quarter as Alan Reed is the ball carrier, gets across the 50 to about the 51-yard line. And, you know, I was talking about their field position. Here's where Montreal took over. At their 34, their 26, their 6, and their 33. Argos, on the other hand, had the ball at the 43, the 48, and the 52. So it's 2nd down, 8 yards to go Montreal. Now they've got the field position that they've been seeking all game. Try to set up the screen, and they do to Alan Reed. And Reed fights his way down to about the 50-yard line before Don Moan finally forced him out of bounds. And if they give him the 50, he's got the first down.
Alan Reed just does an excellent job to get away from the middle linebacker initially, number 73, David Marshall. Breaks the tackle there, picks up a couple of blocks, and back-to-back first downs for the Montreal Alouette offense.
We've got less than a minute to play in this opening quarter. The Owls are on the move. They are in Toronto territory for the first time this evening. Barnes' pass is complete. And this is the wide receiver, James Hood. And Hood just refuses to go down. Finally, they drop him inside the 40 at the 39-yard line. It's another Montreal first down, a pickup of 11 yards.
Well, this is one of the reasons why they were so happy to be able to trade for a quality receiver like James Hood. Exceptionally quick in the open field, and really not much blocking developed on that quick screen to him. He does this all on his own.
First down, Owls, the ball at the Toronto 39. Barnes' pass intended for Hood again. And there is no flag, although Hood felt that Carl Bracely may have given him an extra little shove. It goes for naught as the first quarter comes to an end with the Toronto Argonauts out in front of the Montreal Alouettes 7-0. We'll return with the second quarter in a moment. Alouettes, but the Owls are on the move. Second down at the Toronto 39. The pass is complete to Mike McTagg, but he's hit at the 35-yard line. The pickup will be just 5, and we will see the field goal unit of the Alouettes come out onto the field. Second down and 10 yards to go. Well, throw a 5-yard pass. There's a look at the statistical story. As you can see, Argos had 96 total yards to 57 for the Alouettes, and both clubs had 1 turnover. They were both interceptions. So now Roy Kurtz will try the field goal from 41 yards away. And this is well within his range. didn't get much of the ball, and as a result, it didn't go high enough. And the Toronto Argonauts, Jerry Nash, will concede the single point. So the Alouettes get on the scoreboard, but not to the extent that they would have liked. Toronto leads at 7-1.
I'm not saying this is the reason why Roy Kurtz missed the field goal, but he does have a new holder this year. Number 4, Darryl Moyer is the holder, and of course, for so many years, Jerry DiTilio did that job and did it so well. Always tough when you have to work out the timing with some new guys.
I'll tell you what else might have affected that kick is that it is really windy down here at field level. Surprising for the partial dome, and we're starting to get a little wet. The ball may have been slippery.
So the Argos will put it into play from their 35-yard line. They lead it 7-1. Holloway comes out firing, but the pass was deflected. Number 99, Steve Rocky, was there once again. Rocky, you may recall, was injured last season. But when he's healthy, there is no better pass rusher in the CFL.
I think that was big number 71. Brett Williams, the defensive tackle, got his hand up on the football. And the Montreal Alouettes are very good at that, their front four. If they can't get the pressure and get in there, they get the hands up, and they deflect a lot of balls.
Holloway fires, it's complete, and this is the man that they want to get the football to, Craig Ellis. Ellis gets over the 40 to the 42. And as you can see, Condredge is very slow getting to his feet.
Oh, boy, how many times have you seen this same scene over the last few seasons? Condredge Holloway has just taken a tremendous beating in the last 3 football seasons. We'll see after he releases this ball to Ellis, and, oh, you can't quite see it, but he takes a tremendous shot. I think it was Doug Scott, number 70, coming in.
Well, you mentioned that he's been injured so many times, and that's a fact. And yesterday at the press conference, Bob Obilovich was saying that he hoped that nothing would happen to Condredge in this or any other game, but if it did, they would be in much better shape than they were a year ago at the quarterback spot. Well, it's a 7-1 ball game. Argos out in front of Montreal. We'll be back in a moment. He wanted to make sure the flow of this game kept moving, so he's just punted to Kerry Taylor, and on the return, he gets it back to about the 21-yard line. And that's where they're going to put it into play. But this man, around whom the entire Argo offense revolves, Condredge Holloway, appears to have suffered yet another knee injury. I mean, how many times can you go through the same thing and expect to be back? Dr. Jackson, one of the very best orthopedic surgeons in the country, will give Condredge all the help that he needs, but I don't know. Barnes' pass is caught once again by James Hood.
Well, James Hood only had 1 pass last week, already a few in the first quarter. Once again, Condredge Holloway, Fred Dunbar, the head trainer of the Argonauts, working on him as well. And boy, oh boy, anytime you start working on the knees there, you have to think that it could be a serious problem.
The pickup by James Hood was about 7 yards, so make it 2nd and 3. Montreal, the ball at their own 30-yard line. And Barnes is dropped back at the 25. Firing through there was number 77, Rodney Harding, the sophomore defensive end from the University of Oklahoma.
Well, a big 6'2", 250-pounder that they really expected big things from last year. Had 8 sacks last year, but they're really hoping he's the guy that's going to give them that fearsome pass rush. They didn't have any sacks last week, and they really have to improve in that department.
And let's give an assist, too, to Mark Seal, number 76, the former Ottawa Rough Rider who's putting pressure on him. McTagg's punt is very, very high. Joyner takes it at the 48-yard line, crosses the 50, and steps out of bounds at the 52. Now we'll wait and see who comes out onto the field to quarterback the Toronto Argonauts. Will it be the recently acquired Norman Gibbs, number 9, or rookie David Bates? Gibbs, who was acquired from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, has been in the CFL for 3 years, but has seen very limited play backing up Tom Clements in Winnipeg.
Yeah, John Hufnagel, pretty tough to take one of those 2 fellows' jobs. So Norman Gibbs really was not a heck of a lot of experience, although they always thought very highly of him in Winnipeg.
First down, Argos at their 52. The handoff goes to Craig Ellis. And Ellis gets to midfield and into Montreal territory. He was grabbed from behind by Lamont Jeffers, number 72, the second-year player from the University of Tennessee. And there's Condredge Holloway. And every time, of course, you look at somebody who's been around the CFL as long as Condredge has and sustains a knee injury, you've got to wonder, could this be the end of the line? Let's hope it isn't. But this certainly is a golden opportunity for Norman Gibbs, who's been waiting to become a first stringer. And he's dropped back of the line of scrimmage. Boy, he rolled out of there, and unfortunately for him, he rolled into Steve Rocky, number 99. That's his second sack of the ball game.
Well, Montreal defense, you always know that they're going to play well, and year in, year out, they get good pressure from their front four. Steve Rocky, Sandy Armstrong, Brett Williams, and Doug Scott. That's a good group with quite a bit of experience. Williams and Sandy Armstrong with the USFL, and of course, Doug Scott's been around for 7 years. So
Hank Kalisic is back to punt for the Argos, standing inside his 40. Oh boy, this is quite a boot. This is Kerry Taylor from his 4-yard line. And because the punt was so high, it enabled Don Moan and that special unit to get downfield and contain that return to about 2 yards. The Argos are out in front of the Alouettes 7-1. We'll be back in a moment.
What are we going to do?
Taxi! Taxi!
You speak English?
Where do you go?
Oh, no, we don't know where we're going.
We don't know what to do.
You see, we've lost our traveler's check.
The American Express?
Yes.
American Express. Is okay. I take you there.
American Express has travel service offices worldwide to help with refunds and more. Don't leave home without them.
Somebody have any change? Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Argonaut quarterback Condredge Holloway has the brace undone and the ice on the left knee, but he is not leaving the field. In fact, has been limping about a little bit gingerly. He tells me he is going back in.
Well, he may tell you that, Dan, and as the rains continue to fall, I'll be very surprised if we see him on this field tonight. After that 54-yard boot by Elisic and just a 2-yard return, again, the Alouettes are backed up at their 5-yard line. The give is to Dan Huckluck. Huckluck puts his head down and fights his way out to about the 9. Argos, of course, reaching for the football. Marlon Jones comes up with it about 45 seconds after the whistle was blown. Well, the pickup was about 3 yards. Let's make it 2nd and 7 as you take a look at the tough going in there.
Well, he was up for some pretty big prestigious awards in his career at University. The Dick Butkus Award, the Vince Lombardi.
Well, the man we're talking about is Willie Pless, number 32, the linebacker for the Argos, as James Hood takes that pass from Joe Barnes and comes up very close to a first down. Boy, would the Als love to get this one.
Well, as they say in the football trade, the Alouettes this whole game have been playing on an extremely long football field. And that means that all their drives started so far back in their own territory, they just really have to go a long way to get any points. The Argonauts, on the other hand, well, they've been playing on a pretty short field in this first half.
It is a first down, Montreal. The ball is at their 17-yard line, and again, this is Dan Huckluck. That's exactly what I like about Huckluck. He's a fullback who just runs straight ahead, and if you get in his way, he puts his head and shoulders down, and guaranteed he's going to drive you back a couple of yards.
Well, there's a few guys around the league like that. Jim Reed in Ottawa is the first name that comes to mind that has that same kind of style. Not overly fancy, but very effective, and he's the kind of guy that doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and coaches sure like to have them at that blocking spot.
Huckluck picked up 5 yards. It's 2nd down and 5 at their own 22 for the Alouettes. The screen is set up for Alan Reed. And Reed gets out to the 35-yard line before he's finally brought down by Darrell Wilson, number 13. And Don Moan was over there as well.
Well, number 60, the left guard, Blake Hill, the fourth-year pro from the University of Calgary, just does an excellent job. Watch, you're going to see him right here. He turns out number 21 in the corner, Marcellus Green, and that opens up the way for Alan Reed to gain some good yardage. That's the second time they've had success with that screen.
Pickup was 13 yards. First down, Montreal at their 35. This drive started at their own 5-yard line. Barnes' pass was intended for Mike McTagg, but diving across in front of him was Dennis Clay, and the pass goes incomplete.
Well, Mike's had a rough start tonight so far. Dropped one a little earlier, and maybe a ball that could have been caught there, but I guess the hand coming across just distracted him enough.
Boy, the Alouettes cannot get a break. Here it was expected to be nice in Montreal today. It was like the middle of October, and now it's raining on their parade as they come up with a 2nd and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Barnes going deep. Well, now Dennis Clay and the intended receiver, Kerry Taylor, got all entangled, but there is no flag on the play, although the Alouette fans certainly thought there should have been.
Well, number 14, Dennis Clay, had a lot of practice time to watch the moves of his former teammate, Kerry Taylor, and he just stays with him step for step and just does an excellent job.
And so Mike McTagg will be punting for Montreal with 7 minutes and 56 seconds left to play in this first half, with the Argos out in front 7-1.
Well, the one good thing they did, though, was get a couple of first downs and at least try and reestablish some kind of field position.
A little bit of a mix-up between the punt return team for the Toronto Argonauts. Joyner and Chris Woods got a little bit confused, and as a result, the ball bounced, but it was recovered by the Argos. Now, let's just wait and see if there is a penalty. There will be no yards when we come back. It is the Argos 7, the Alouettes 1.
From molten steel, Nissan creates the most important truck breakthrough in a quarter century.
Now, Nissans lowered the rate on all new 87 trucks. The longest, biggest, strongest Nissans ever are yours at only 6.7% interest. 6.7% at participating Nissan dealers right now. But don't wait. At this rate, they're going fast.
For Canada's lowest price King Cab at 6.7%, the name is Nissan.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting a classic rockers reunion featuring Chubby Checker. With Brenda Lee, Del Shannon, also featuring the Diamond, and Bill Haley's Collar. The classic rockers reunion.
Bring your dancing shoes and come to the Hop at the P&E Coliseum July 8th, Victoria Memorial Arena July 9th. Call 280-4444. In Victoria, 384-1522.
No yards. Montreal number 81. First down.
So that's Sandy Armstrong, and the poor Alouettes can't catch a break tonight. Argos foul up the punt return and still end up making 15 yards on the penalty. So Toronto, with quarterback Norman Gibbs at the controls in place of the injured Condredge Holloway, begin at their own 53. Gibbs simply ran out of room. Steve Rocky was forcing him right to the sideline, and Gibbs, rather than put it up and risk the interception, fired it out of bounds.
Well, he wanted to set up a screen, but Montreal did such a good job defending it. He had no place to throw that football and finally ran out of time and takes a pretty good shot from Steve Rocky. That's pretty close to grounding the football, too.
It's second down and 10 yards to go for the Argos, who lead at 7-1 as the rains continue to fall here at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Gibbs' pass is complete for the first down, or very close to it, at the Montreal 48-yard line, and it's caught by Paul Pearson, his first reception of the night. He caught 2 last week against Hamilton and grabs his first here this evening.
You know, the Toronto Argonaut offense really has good balance in that receiving core. You got the speedsters Woods and Joyner on the outside, and then a reliable guy like Paul Pearson, who goes down, gets his 10 yards. You see he's going to pick up a first down, and that's the kind of reliable guy you want to have to, and not surprising that Norman Gibbs would go to him in that situation.
Ryan Dudley, 15, and Rick Ryan, 27, converged on him, but too late, as Paul Pearson picks up a first down for Bob Obilovich and the Toronto Argonauts. The ball is spotted at the 47-yard line with 6 minutes and 40 seconds left to play in the first half. Gibbs' pass was over the head of the intended receiver, but he did a good job. He was under considerable pressure from Brett Williams, among others, but Gibbs was still able to get the ball away despite the fact that it was not completed.
Well, there's no question about the philosophy of the Montreal Alouettes now with the young quarterback in there. They're coming with all the blitzes now to try and unsettle him. In fact, now on 2nd and long yardage, they've taken out Steve Rocky, defensive end, and number 75, Ken Shanconi, will come in for a little better pass defense.
Going deep for Pearson, but it's over his head. And let's give credit there to that Toronto offensive line. They did an excellent job in protecting Gibbs. He had all the time that he needed.
Tony Antunovic not playing this week. Of course, we mentioned Jeff Arp in his place, and yes, Pat, they did a pretty good job that time, but Montreal only rushing 3 people.
Not true. They rushed 5. Hank Olisic is back to punt. Hank Olisic averaging 53 yards tonight. Angles this one for the sideline. Now let's see where he got it out of bounds. They'll spot it at the 15-yard line, and again the Alouettes are going to put it into play in very unenviable field position with 5:41 left. At halftime, we've got a very interesting show for you. You'll see the Pacific Western Stars of the Week, and we'll have a look at a man who had an unbelievable evening last week, Chris Sigler of the Ottawa Rough Riders. And we'll ask the commissioner and put him on the spot with a difficult question asked by you, the fans. And Leaf will be around with his first half analysis. Joe Barnes and the Alouettes starting from their 15-yard line. Now, there's a case where they could have called grounding because Rodney Harding was all over Joe Barnes right at the goal area, and that's what they are going to do.
Yeah, when Joe let that ball go, all there was linemen out there. It appeared as though a screen was trying to be developed, but Rodney Harding with such good pressure, Joe had no choice.
There's the call.
Intentional grounding. Montreal number 7.
Well, the fans aren't too pleased, but I think it's a good call by Jake Ireland. Let's take a look.
Well, there's no question that Jake Ireland had a good view to see that. No pass receiver in the area. You've got to make that call.
Closest man there was Bob Lubick, number 51, the right guard. So it's 2nd down now, all the way back at the 1-yard line. Loss was 14 yards. Dan Huckluck, the ball carrier, trying to get some breathing room for Mike McTagg, the punter, who'll be standing deep in his end zone.
Yeah, there's not too many plays in the playbook for 2nd and 24 from your own 1-yard line, and I think Joe Barnes just kind of bit the bullet there, said hand off and hope Mike can get a good punt and get us out of here and let the defense play.
Well, the Argos, barring something completely unforeseen, are going to end up deep in Montreal territory when this is over.
Well, once again, they're going to have great field position, and it's kind of nice for a young quarterback like Norman Gibbs not have to start deep in his own territory.
Incidentally, if you're watching and you're saying to yourself, those end zones don't look as deep as I remember them being, well, of course, you're right, because they've cut them back 5 yards. The end zones in the Canadian Football League now are officially 20 yards deep. McTagg's punt is blocked. And the Toronto Argonauts have a touchdown because it was recovered by Darrell Wilson.
Well, I think it was number 27, the rookie wide receiver, Ken Joyner, who was in on that play to try and put some extra pressure with his feet on Mike McTagg. We're going to have a good look at it. But watch the top of your screen. I think it's 27, Kenny Joyner, and yes, it is. He's the man that got the hand on the ball. And number 13, Darrell Wilson, picks up his first touchdown of 1986.
It was just that momentary inability by McTagg to get the pass from center clearly that allowed Joyner to get in there.
Well, there's no question the balls are getting wet with the rain coming down. You saw it go through his hands, and the timing was all screwed up, and the Argos are the recipient of a nice block kick for a touchdown.
There has not been a point after missed in the CFL in 1986, and Lance Chomik isn't about to become the first. He's right through the middle, and the Argos, with 4 minutes and 39 seconds left to play in the first half, have jumped out in front of the Alouettes 14-1. A fine, outstanding individual effort by the newcomer to that Toronto Argonaut offense, Ken Joyner, in breaking through to block the punt, and then Darrell Wilson being Johnny on the spot to recover it.
Well, that lousy field position finally caught up with the Alouettes, you know, and tough break when you're struggling and you're looking still for your first win of the season. Those plays like that really have a deflating effect on the entire team.
Joyner just told me that he had a clean break all the way to the quarterback. He thinks one of the backs missed an assignment.
Well, they came with 11 men that time, and you do a few stunts on the line, usually you can free somebody up. They came close earlier, and Carl Brazeley almost got to one of McTagg's punts.
Well, there's the man who came through for the Argos. Number 27, Ken Joyner, and he's also caught a couple of very important passes. As Hank Halisic, who performs the kickoff duties for the Argos, has it all teed up at the 35. In case you missed Leaf's explanation earlier, that's where all kickoffs originate now in the CFL. Of course, the reason for that is to try to allow the return team better field position. This is Kerry Taylor. And Taylor did a pretty good job in sidestepping the initial tackler downfield, gets the ball to the 30-yard line, and that's where Joe Barnes and the offense are going to take over. Just a reminder that next Friday night, Argos will be in beautiful BC Place to meet the Lions, and that's a 10 o'clock start Eastern Daylight Time. You'll see it here on CTV, Friday Night Football. Argos have 113 yards total offense. Montreal 92, strangely enough, but it's all Argos on the scoreboard, 14-1. Barnes' pass is complete as he swings it out to Wes Cooper, and Cooper crosses the 30 to about the 32, but he only manages to pick up a couple of yards.
Freddie Dunbar, the reliable trainer of the Toronto Argonauts, giving a little assistance to number 66, Kelvin Prunster, the left offensive tackle of